the man down. Way, blow the man down. We'll blow him away, boys, to Camelford Town. Give me some time to blow the man down. Blow the man down, bullies, blow the man down. Way, hey, blow the man down. We blow him away, boys, to Camelford Town. Give me some time to blow the man down. Spooling back, all of us playing and singing around here when we were 16, once we had connected with the folk scene, all aspired to get a support slot down at Brenda Wotton's.
I wanted to shamingo because I'm sad today.
And Brenda, in a series of venues, ran. Again, it was a commercial concern, you know. I mean, I think she made a living out of running Piper's Folk Club over the summer because she ran it as though it was a summer season. But it was hugely popular. It was very, very good. And of course, she had her pick of all those relatively, even then, major artists because they all gravitated towards the sun. You know, Ralph McTell, Wiz Jones was already living down there. So many people like that. Michael Chapman, I could go on forever. And eventually, Colin and I started to get the support gig down there occasionally. So afterwards, you all stayed at Brenda's, and about 50 people would pile back to Brenda's. There'd be an endless supply of toast and butter and cups of tea. And so on. And that's where I first met Johnny Coppin. And he was one of the founding members of Decameron. And they were just about to bring in Dick Cadbury as a bass player, phenomenal musician, Dick. And I already knew him because he was playing in yet another Cornwall-based band called Totem, who are a kind of blues acoustic.
No, we remember that.
Yeah, with Peter Berryman, in fact, was the guitarist for a while. And Pete Berryman, Al Schmidt, Dick Cadbury. Dick joined Decameron. I moved to Brighton. Paul and I worked together in Brighton for a while. Absolutely wonderful. We were getting lots of gigs, but Brighton, lovely though it is a pain in the arse to live in if you're gigging constantly up country. You know, it was just, there was no M25, not that it makes a scrap of difference, but... So I kind of also, that's right, and we had also got some interest from a new agent who lived in Cheltenham. So, and I knew Johnny and Dick lived there. So we just moved up there. And of course, it immediately made our lives easier because it's so much more central. You know, suddenly it was 2 hours to Manchester. It was 2 hours back to Exeter. It was an hour and a half down to London. It just made everything simpler. I lived in Gloucestershire for a very long time. But out of the ashes of Decameron, of course, what happened was that I inevitably ended up working with Johnny a lot. And what I think even a lot of Show of Hands sort of followers don't know is that probably for 8 years prior to that, Johnny Coppin and I were a duo.
Amongst your extensive credits, you've also got credits for... on albums with the Rolling Stones and Steve. How did that happen?
I've no idea. no good asking me. No. Okay, there's a younger musician who I've known since he was 15, who's also from Gloucestershire, is Matt Clifford. Particularly good composer, arranger, keyboard player, etc., etc. He was already, one of those top keyboard players for hire. And let's get this right. He was actually about to replace Rick Wakeman in the prog rock band Yes for a tour. And he was already rehearsing with them when the phone rang. And it was the Stones management saying, we need you to join a Stones World Tour. So he thought about it for about half a second. And off he went, and it was a very simple reason. This was with they were about to make Steel Wheels album, and but they already knew of of the songs that they would normally do, they wanted to do one or two of the more cosmic things, like however, 10,000 light years and so on. Chuck Leavell, the veteran organ and piano player who always plays with them, who was originally in the Allman Brothers, was he? Yeah, he was in the Allman Brothers. Fantastic player, but he's not a synth man, whereas Matt is, can construct any kind of soundscape you want with synths. So they wanted someone who was good at that, and someone had recommended Matt to them, and so they grabbed him. So that started that relationship of him working for them. And then when it came to actually making the Steel Wheels album, there were a couple of really quite country-ish, right back to the original sort of idea, a couple of very country-ish, low-level tracks on it, including one called Blinded by Love. So Jagger was sort of saying in general, yeah, we need a bit of fiddle on this. So no, he said, we need a bit of mandolin on this. And Matt said, well, I know the guy. And so Matt called me up. That morning I was in a recording studio in Malvern, putting the finishing touches to a Johnny Coppin project, which was setting Laurie Lee to music. Johnny's been setting loads of stuff to loads of Gloucestershire poetry to music for a long time. There's albums and albums of it. So I was doing that at Paul White's studio, I remember it well, in the morning, and then I got in the car, drove to London, and at 4 o'clock in the afternoon I was at Olympic playing mandolin and fiddle on a Rolling Stones track called Blinded by Love. It was a full day. Fire and Wine by Steve Ashley. Winter's coming, we live a shorter day. The sun is hunting, all for a place to stay. Jack Frost's fingers are in the wind today. Ragged Robin is seesawing in one half of a coconut shell, while he can't find the vacant rind, and hunger makes his red breast swell. Now is the time for fire and wine, fire for the body and a wine for the mind. We will sing and play till the break of day, and we will sing Jack Frost away. Cold October bowls me over, damp November it makes me sneeze, and then December, oh December, brings the frost to freeze my knees. Now is the time for fire and wine, fire for the body and wine for the mind. We will sing and play till break of day, and we will sing Jack Frost away. Winter brings us to the singers and the drinkers, glass in hand, with roll-up smokers and midnight jokers, and listeners all who sit and stand. Now is the time for fire and wine, fire for the body and wine for the mind. We will sing and play till break of day, and we will sing and Jack Frost away. Now is the time for fire and wine.
I want to ask you, Phil, about you and Steve being the greatest ever Devonians. How did that happen? Not saying you're not, but...
No, it's what you've got is one of the reasons for our inverted commas success is that we were ahead of everyone in terms of developing, firstly, a huge physical mailing list. When I left the Albion band, I had a mailing list. Everyone was operating, doing mail outs and things at that time. And so what's that's nearly 30 years ago now. But you didn't have social media and you didn't have all these ways of connecting. We very soon, our then Australian manager realized that we had to be collecting email addresses, so that's the obvious way that things went forward. And then, of course, message boards ended. I regret message boards ending. I liked message boards, but hey, there you go. And so here we are, able in theory to communicate with anyone, if they'll connect to us, So we just developed it. And in fact, when Gerard moved on, he was Australian and he went back to Australia. I mean, he effectively used his 4 years with us to learn how to work and manipulate all this stuff, Yeah, so we've always been on top of this, basically, and communicating with people. So when we press the button, there's an immediate mailing list, a cyber mailing list, about 35,000 people, which is much bigger probably than any other folk band around. And that's what's drawing people in to this, at the moment, this spate of filmmaking and film production, you see. So it's how we will keep the ship afloat, However, having said that, we are doing a drive-in gig only in about 2 weeks' time. So that's going to be interesting.
Drive-in gig?
We are doing a drive-in gig. There is a drive-in gig venue. It's actually in Hampshire. It's existed for several years. And they do movies and all kinds of stuff there. So they've swiftly and carefully adapted it. You get the little Bluetooth receiver, which you plug into your car radio, all of that stuff, and then that's how it happens, basically.
I was interested to learn about your project, which you're engaged on at the moment, which is kind of collating all your tapes from your incredible career. What are you going to do with them? Are you going to put them into box sets or what?
Oh, yeah. I've been on this for 9 years. I've been trying to do this for 9 years. So you get home and you get a bit of a break and you work on it for a week, and then it all has to get put away again because there's something more important going on. So for me, perversely, lockdown could not have happened at a better time because that's the overriding project now. And I've split it up into two. It's almost silly to talk about CDs in this day and age, but technically it's 2 5 CD sets. So I'm well on the way to one now. It won't take long to get this one out. It's nearly all acoustic. Over half of it is old material, which has then been reworked, remixed, re-edited. And then with my occasional electric band, it could be another 10 CDs worth of stuff if I wanted to, but I'm not really going to go that far. But when I've done this one, I'm going to take a well-earned break, and then I'm going to work on all the electric stuff again and get all that together, basically. So there'll be a complete Phil Beer band box set. So, yeah.
Do you have a schedule? Do you have a schedule for it?
No, I'm not talking schedules with anyone. It's going great, and I'm making a lot of progress, obviously, because because I've been at home. And but I've probably finished discs 1, 2, and 3 of the acoustic box set within the next 3 weeks or so, probably.
Tell us about the Albert Hall.
It's big, it's round, and
come on.
it's big, it's round, and it costs a lot of money to hire. Way back in Steve's rock and rolling days, one of the pioneers of the whole video sort of thing in the sort of music business for making promo films. Filmmaking was always more expensive once video came along, although once you'd invested in the equipment, overall it was easier to edit. Everything about it, you know, made the process cheaper. So one of the people who was in there at the beginning is a man called John Roseman, who had a company called John Roseman Television. Great guy. He lives in retirement in Spain now, but and for a while he thought he would try managing some of the bands that he was doing stuff for, and he particularly liked Steve's rock band when he was living in London, Short Stories. He had a go at managing it, I'll be honest, and I'm sure he would be honest, he didn't do a very good job, but he became a lifelong friend. Okay. And we were at his house late one Saturday night, having a drink, and he said, I don't know much about this folk music, but yeah, you need a stunt. You need to do, you know, to make a big gesture of some kind. So why don't you hire the Albert Hall? Looked at him and said, yeah, okay. And he said, no. And he got on the phone at 10 o'clock at night because he seemed to know everyone. And he came up with a price. And at that point in time, so where were we? 1993, 94, 95? I've already forgotten, you know. 93, 94. He actually, late on a Saturday night, came up with what the Albert Hall cost to hire at that point in time. And it was about 13 grand. So that was a lot of money, and we didn't have it. And then secondly, they're very increasingly concerned about hires anyway, because, you know, vanity projects, people like, there was a woman who thought she was an opera singer, and then she decided to hire the Albert Hall, and of course nobody came. So it's not just about the money you pay to hire the hall, it's about everything else that goes with it. You know, the number of bars that don't sell any drink, you know, just everything around it. It's no use to anyone unless there's a reasonable crowd. So they are very, in fact, they simply won't do it now. If it looks like a vanity project, they actually won't hire it to you anymore, you know. But at that time, it was a bit like that. So we kind of had to prove our credentials a bit, and, you know, and sort of. So anyway, we got the thing going. A friend of ours who's extremely wealthy came in with some of the money, and we paid the deposit. And once the tickets went on sale, it started to sort of tick over quite nicely. And in the end, we did very well out of it. There's always a thing about the Albert Hall. When you hire it, you do not get all the seats. Okay, so when you say you've sold out, what that means is you've sold the seats that you got. And this is because of the debenture seats. There's a huge swathe of seats that are owned by people at the Albert Hall. Okay,
Yeah.
So in order to get access to those seats is another layer of grief and more money, because they then have to get in touch with all of the owners of all the seats and say, do you want your seats on that particular night? Can we sell them on? And so on. So so the first couple of times we did it, we never did that, you know. So when technically we're able to say we sold out the Albert Hall, there are people going, but there's like several hundred seats with nobody in them, so you're lying, you know. It's a complex sort of business. But the real funny one was that there was someone in the Queen's box that night. And, you know, the Royal Box, that one up there, and we're looking up there, and there's people in it. How is that possible? And it transpired at the time that a youngish person who was one of the Queen's secretaries happened to be a fan of ours. So here's the imaginary conversation, okay? By the way, Mum, will you in fact be taking up your option on the tickets for the Show of Hands concert in the Albert Hall on such and such a date? And we imagine the Queen saying, absolutely not. Bugger off. I can't stand them. That's our fantasy, anyway. About 12 years ago, I produced an album for Midlands singer-songwriter called John Richards, and I did it at Dave Pegg's, what was then Dave Pegg's studio, Woodworm Studios, Fairport sort of studio. And this was John Richards' band, so it was an electric album. However, there was one totally acoustic song on it, and I thought it was the best song on the album. And in fact, Show of Hands actually recorded it many years later. And so this is John Richards' Roaring Water Bay. Singing God Bless America from Barefoot Hill. Rain and tears were her only tune, singing the saddest of farewells. Now she smiles through the sad days, but the glad days still remain. When she thinks of those who never will return to their Irish homes again. 30 years worth of letters home from New York State, photographs from another world, causes to cheer the lonely heart. How she wished she could see them all on the streets of Skibbereen, but she knows the brothers never will return to the roaring water bay. On the bay, on the roaring water bay, born of the blood and Irish ways. Singing God Bless America. Then the young men came, Irish hearts with their Yankee words, dancing in Dublin in the rain, heading south on the West Coast Road as they search to find their names. Well, it's a long, long way from Newark down to Cork and the roaring water bay. On the bay, on the roaring water bay, for the blood and Irish ways. Singing God Bless America. We only toured America twice, but I will say that one of the 10 greatest gigs of my life was me and Knightley doing a 25-minute opener in Austin, Texas for Janis Ian and Nils Lofgren to an audience of 200 people, an invited audience. I don't know how we got that gig. We just got lucky. So that's in my top 10 gigs of all time.
You're a big man with boats. I mean, you've actually crewed on a winning tall ship.
2008, Category 2 is smaller traditional vessels. So on the pilot cutter Pegasus from Bristol, yeah, we won in our class on race 2, yeah, to Klaipeda. We raced from St. Petersburg to Klaipeda, yeah. And yeah, great. I've sailed into Russia on a sailing boat. As I was walking down Killigrew Street, way, hey, blow the man down, a saucy young bobby I chanced for to meet. Oh, give me some time to blow the man down. Blow the man down, bullies, blow the man down. Way, hey, blow the man down. We'll blow him away, boys, to Camelford town. Give me some time to blow the man down. Says he, you're a smuggler, and that I can see. Way, hey, blow the man down. So off to the Bodmin, yeah, come Jack with me. Give me some time to blow the man down. Blow the man down, bullies, blow the man down. Way, hey, blow the man down. We'll blow him away, boys, to Camelford town. Give me some time to blow the man down. Says he, it's your lugger down there by the point. Way, hey, blow the man down. You'll soon see that I'll put your nose out of joint. Give me some time to blow the man down. Blow the man down, bullies, blow the man down. Way, hey, blow the man down. We'll blow him away, boys, to Camelford town. Give me some time to blow the man down. Says I, you're a loony, yeah, I think it's a lark. Way, hey, blow the man down. But yonder's me clipper, she's called Cutty Sark. Give me some time to blow the man down. Blow the man down, bullies, blow the man down. Way, hey, blow the man down. We'll blow him away, boys, to Camelford town. Give me some time to blow the man down. They give me 3 months in the clink of the town. Way, hey, blow the man down. For scruffing that bobby and knocking him down. Give me some time to blow the man down. Blow the man down, bullies, blow the man down. Way, hey, blow the man down. We'll blow him away, boys, to Camelford town. Give me some time to blow the man down. Blow the man down, bullies, blow the man down. Way, hey, blow the man down. We'll blow him away, boys, to Camelford town. Give me some time to blow the man down.